One of the most amazing lines in all of the Bible is three simple words. It says, God is love. Now I want you to think about that for just a moment. God is not merely loving, that would be an adjective describing a behavior. It says God is love, a noun, more or less his essential character, who and what God is. Now, as somebody who has the privilege of traveling all over the world, teaching and preaching, a question that I get asked literally everywhere I go, whether it's a small town or a big city, in every country, on every continent, people ask the question, if God is so good as you say He is, as good as Scripture says He is, then why is there so much pain, suffering, sickness, death, and disease in the world? And it's a good question. It's a great question, in fact. And the answer, strangely enough, actually resides in those three words. God is love. Think about this for just a moment. Love requires freedom, doesn't it? If we were to force ourselves on someone, force them to be intimate with us, the word for that is actually rape, and that's not a pretty word, it's an ugly word. And God is not a divine rapist. So, in order for God to be love and to ask for love in return, He has to give freedom. Love requires freedom. But something follows from that, and that is that freedom involves risk. And isn't that true? Anyone who's ever had their heart broken or anyone who's ever been betrayed by someone close to them knows that freedom involves risk. If someone is genuinely free to say, I don't, only then, when they say, I do, is it meaningful and beautiful. Now, there's a third thing that follows, and that is that risk entails responsibility. So, follow the three. Love requires freedom. Freedom involves risk. Risk entails responsibility. And the Bible tells one of the most amazing stories about how the world came to be in the condition in which it's in. In fact, that whole story can be summarized in just 5 words that Jesus spoke in Matthew chapter 13. In response to a parable that He told in which there was a field that was planted with good seeds, and all of a sudden these weeds began to come up. The laborers in the parable, the story, they came to the landowner, Jesus, and they said, where did the weeds come from? And Jesus' response was, an enemy has done this. 5 words. This enemy, the Bible simply calls Satan. It's a transliteration of the Hebrew word Satan. It means enemy, adversary, one who stands against. And the amazing thing is that God made this being not as an enemy, but as a friend, as a beautiful, happy, holy being. And then God gave that being an important, precious, and beautiful, yet dangerous gift. He gave that being the gift of freedom. And as we've already discussed, love requires freedom, but freedom involves risk, and risk entails responsibility. And that being, according to this book, abused and misused that freedom. And all of the pain, suffering, sickness, death, and disease that we see in the world today is the direct result of an angelic rebellion against the government of God and against His love.